So with the serious stuff out of the way, please welcome the Rob and Jamie, the brilliant hosts of Totalus Rankium.
Hello,
Hello. Hello.
and welcome to
Uh,
Roman Emperor's Totalus Rankium. I am Jamie.
and I'm Rob, and it's backup plans. And already we are doing backup plans because I'm just going to show everyone. I mean, it means nothing to anyone else. I'm in a hotel room in Montenegro because my flights got cancelled twice, and so I'm doing this from a strange place. I'm not home, but it's fine. It's all good. We've
Yeah.
sorted everything out, and we're here to talk about not my backup plans, not Jamie's, but a very special person, Jamie, a favorite emperor of yours.
Yes, Didius
Yes,
Julianus.
Didius Julianus, a emperor who has a soft spot in our hearts, hasn't he?
Oh, massive
Yes.
soft spot.
Yeah, he's great. Because there were many people who have gone down in history because they plan ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Julius Caesar, for example, always known for his contingency plans.
Yep.
Yeah, he wrote and bragged about them a lot, so everyone talks about them. Still do to this day. Military genius, many say. And you can add names like Alexander, Hannibal, Napoleon to the list of people who really planned well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just come across someone who knows how to plan and wipes the board clean. For those who may not know, we have covered the lives of maybe around 170 Roman emperors here,
Wow.
plus lots of other people as well. But the first Roman emperor that sprung to mind when talking about backup plans, and this was you, Jamie, you said it straight away, it's none other than the 20th emperor, Didius Julianus.
What a guy.
What a guy. Didius Julianus does not go down in history as a great general or an amazing creator of backup plans. Do you know why this is, Jamie?
Because they all failed. Was he a bit terrible?
Because he was, and I'm just going to put it bluntly, a bit rubbish. He was
Yeah.
in over his head. His backup plans were not so much as well thought out. More plans that had been scrawled on bits of paper, scrunched up into tiny tear-dampened balls and thrown against the wall in the vain hope that something will stick. But hey,
Oh,
that's all you've got. That's all you've got.
yeah.
But before we go into his backup plans, let's do a very quick background on the emperor so we know who we are talking about. So who is this man? Why is he an emperor? Well, he was born in the 130s to a mother from the African province and a father from Milan. We know that his family was an important one because he was raised by the mother of Marcus Aurelius herself.
Oh, wow. Forgot
Yeah,
that.
we don't really know why, but yeah, there we go. In his 20s, he was married, and his political connections meant that he rose up the Greci honorum nice and quickly. He took command of the legion in Germania and then various other places. By the year 175, he was consul under the Emperor Marcus Aurelius. So he's got good connections.
Big job.
Yeah, and after this, he went back to lead troops as a governor again. He campaigned against the Chatti. He governed Dalmatia and Germania Inferior, all sorts of good stuff. Probably a lot of hard work that he would think that he'd go down in history and be remembered for. Probably. Anyway, during this time, Marcus Aurelius dies, and his useless son Commodus takes over. And he ruled and he was bad and then died. Short story of that. And then Pertinax becomes emperor. Pertinax didn't last very long. He attempted to emulate the great Marcus Aurelius, but unfortunately the city was full of corruption by this point, and lots of people
What
didn't
it would
want
be.
back to the good old days where people actually followed rules.
Yeah.
So in the end, Pertinax was assassinated by the Praetorian Guard. And this is when the Guard did the most infamous of all their deeds, because instead of simply declaring a new emperor, which they shouldn't really do anyway, but they have been doing, they went a step further. They offered to sell the empire to the highest bidder.
Gold stuff, that idea.
Ah, yes. We do not have time to go into the amusing story of the two friends of Didius Julianus who encouraged him to do it.
Go on, Julianus.
But if you want that story again, go and listen to our episode on him. It is hilarious. Just know that after some encouragement, shall we say, Didius Julianus found himself standing outside the gates of the Praetorian camp in a bidding war for the empire, which he won. He was declared emperor, and you can imagine how the people reacted to this.
Oh, not very happy.
Not very happy at all. Jeering in the street, a hostile Senate, probably two friends giggling in the corner, finding it absolutely hilarious.
You paid for this.
Well, the problem wasn't the people. The people get in line. Bread circuses, it's fine. Just get them in line, it's fine. It wasn't even the Senate, because Didius Julianus had arrived at the Senate House to talk through the fact he just bought the empire and announced that he was there unarmed and without a guard.
I remember this.
Yes. A statement that flew in the face of reality because the Senate House was surrounded by the Praetorians, all of them armed.
All the senators like knives at their throat kind of thing.
Exactly.
I'm innocent and here unarmed.
That's fine, as long as you keep telling the Senate that they will follow suit, otherwise they'll get a sharp pointy thing pointed out them. They'll fall in line. This wasn't the problem either. The problem was the armies. Now, we have a couple of people who we're not going to go into. We've got Niger and Albanus, who we called Nigel the White and... Nigel the Black and Albert the White in our podcast. They're in Britain and Syria, and they have large forces. And Didius Julianus knew this, and it was going to be fine, because he could fight these troops. He could fight these troops with the Illyrian forces. The Illyrian forces were much closer. They were better. They could defeat the others. And they were currently led by a man named Severus. A good man, that Severus. Loyal. You could rely on him. Oh, he's a good general as well. Glad he's on my side. But Didius Julianus. Don't want to get on the wrong side of him. But what's this? He said that evening after he's had his feast. He had a feast. The body of Pertinax was still in the palace. He had Pertinax's feast. And then he went to bed, and I'd like to think he took a letter with him. A bit of late night reading. He looks at the letter, and oh dear, Severus is revolting. In fact, he not only is he revolting, he has talked to Nigel and Albert, and they're all taking the same side, at least agreeing not to attack each other. So instead of having forces to fight back Nigel and Albert, he now had a very capable general in Severus with a very capable army, and they were all on their way to Rome with one purpose, and that was to remove Didius Julianus from power and kill him.
Oh, but he's so good.
Well, this is a big problem, thought Didius Julianus.
Him?
Yes. But it's fine. It's okay, because Didius Julianus was not a man not to plan. He had some plans. He got his advisors together. So picture them. Picture these advisors. Are they clear in your head?
Got them. Yeah. Very wizened, very knowledgeable.
Very wise. Yeah, whole group of them. Probably like experts in different fields and stuff.
Yeah, a chemist, geographer, that kind of thing.
Exactly, all sorts. They all get together in a room, the planning room. Needs a good name, the planning room.
The room of plans. There we go.
Yes, let's call it the room of plans. And he showed them his blackboard. His blackboard of plans. So here we are, Jamie. The many backup plans of Didius Julianus.
Ooh.
And because we are a high-budget podcast, Jamie has made some signs. So it's time for the first sign, Jamie, because it's Plan A. So it's the first.
He's feeling confident.
So I just saw the happy face. Plan A, fire Severus.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
He works for you, get rid of him.
Yeah, first thing Julianus decided to do was fire Severus. It's a simple plan. If Severus was not in charge of the armies in Illyria, he can't come over here and depose me, he thought.
Yeah.
Easy. Okay, so how do you fire a general? Who's quick flicking through the rule books. It was decided to send a legate of consular rank to go and meet the usurper. So a very, very high up, important politician. Someone...
And everyone loves politicians. That's a great move. Yeah.
Yeah, a member of the aristocracy, consular rank. He'd been a consul before. He will be impressive. He would show the forces under Severus that this new emperor meant business. So who to pick? Who shall we send? I like to think he then lined up all of the men of consular rank to make a...
There's one with a briefcase looking very smart.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of caliber.
But lots of people looking very impressive.
Yeah.
Lots of them are CVs. They've done negotiations before and all sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really great.
Very shiny shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's looking very, very impressive. Apart from one man named Candidus. And he was just wearing a "I hate the troops" t-shirt, I imagine.
Oh.
Because Candidus was said to be a hard taskmaster when he was in charge of the army. In fact, I'll quote here, "Now for a long time repugnant to the soldiers." You don't want to be known as repugnant, do you?
Not really. It's not the best adjective.
No. Everyone hated him. At least all the soldiers did. So you'll do, said Didius. Go up there and tell them that Severus is fired.
All right. Yep. Off I go.
Yeah, off he goes. Not just him. Not just him, though.
No,
A man named Catulinus went as well. He was going to be Severus's successor. So go with a replacement. Didius was no fool. Can't just say you're fired and not have a plan in place. So off they go and watch them go out the gates, and they're gone.
Bye.
I can only assume Julianus puts his feet up at this point and
Job done.
Little bit of a think.
Yep.
And then he probably realized plan A was not great. We don't know when he realized plan A had failed, but I'm guessing he knew it was never going to work because he moved immediately to plan B. Plan B. Plan B, murder Severus. Now, plan A was probably just cover for the real plan, the impressive plan B. If Severus was dead, there's no way he can lead a coup. Yeah?
Well, yeah, I mean, otherwise you got zombie Severus, and that's just terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, one step at a time. You don't need to worry about zombies until they're actually at your door.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah, so it's fine. We'll deal with that at a later point, he said.
Yeah.
As that advisor was slowly shown to the door.
Go back home if you're very stressed.
But how to murder the general? Well, we simply send an assassin with the group going up to fire him, because when you were watching them go, did you notice the assassin with him? No, I bet you didn't. He's that good.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, I'm guessing...
He's the box.
Yeah.
They're carrying on wheels.
Now, I'm guessing Didius's advisors are now looking a bit happier. They're sat around that room, so looking at each other going, oh yeah, that's Julianus, no fool after all.
Yeah.
He's got a backup plan for when plan A almost certainly fails. So he's got a plan B. He's a guy with plans.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's someone you can trust.
Who's he going to send? Well, there's a retired centurion called Aquilius. Now, we don't have this, but I'm imagining he's a grizzled old soldier who terrifies but excites Julianus in equal measure, I'm guessing.
Hook for a hand, that kind of thing.
Yes, that's what he's got. He's mentioned a couple of times in a couple of chapters of the Historia Augusta. I'll quote here. It says, the Centurion Aquilius, notorious as the assassin of senators, was sent for the purpose of murdering Severus. So he's murdered people before. And then in Niger's chapter, he is described as, and I quote, notorious as an assassin of generals, as if such an emperor could be slain by a centurion. So, and they're mocking him slightly, but he's a notorious assassin of generals and senators.
Is that a guy you want hanging around, though?
Well,
like near the emperor?
It's a guy you want to send to Severus.
Well, yeah, but
we can
in a case like Hannibal Lecter style, wheel him up.
Yeah, that's how you said he was in the box. He was in that box that Hannibal Lecter was in.
Got it. Wonderful.
Yeah. And then as soon as they're within 3 miles of the camp, they just let him loose.
Yeah.
Again, unfortunately, we do not know when Julianus first realized that he had failed, but this did fail. All we get is Severus escaped the clutches of the man whom Julianus had sent to kill him. So, presumably, I don't know, he saw a Roman priest or something and ate his face and got distracted.
With a bottle of Chianti.
Exactly. So, Severus is still alive. But fear not, says Julianus to his advisors, for I have a plan C. Yeah, plan C? Impressive. Backup plans to your backup plan.
Yeah.
Here's the kind of emperor you want. Yeah. Okay. Plan C, get the soldiers to murder Severus.
See, that would only work though if the soldiers didn't like Severus.
That
Or
advisor
Brothel.
was immediately told to go away.
Good, good.
Yes, he was fired. No, ruining the mood in here, and he was shown the door and then stabbed.
Oh.
Yes, Julianus said, no, this will work. We get his own men to kill him. We declare Severus a public enemy, so it becomes the duty of all Roman men to kill him on sight.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, like to see him get out of that one, says Julianus.
Yeah, foolproof, he said to himself.
Guessing the advisors are starting to have just a sort of slight worried feeling on their insides at this point.
Like butterflies in their tummies.
Yeah, I mean,
like the whole world is falling out beneath their feet. That kind of, just a gentle feeling like that.
Yeah, just a small feeling. You're not the feeling of falling, but that feeling you get when you stood on the edge of a cliff.
Ooh, yeah. You lean forward for some strange reason. Yeah.
Now, declaring someone hostis was something that dated back way back to Marius and Sulla times. What it actually meant was the person was no longer a Roman citizen,
right?
Which meant that that person could be killed with no legal punishment.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah. Realistically, however, by this point it was a bounty. Kill that man, and whoever wanted him dead would owe you. And in Roman culture, having someone owing you was very important.
Yeah.
However, there were certain drawbacks to declaring someone a public enemy. For example, if you declared a very popular man who was in the middle of a camp of soldiers devoted to his cause, it was a completely empty gesture.
Well, yeah.
Again, we can only assume that this was known to Julianus, and this was more about posturing rather than a belief that it would actually result in the death of Severus, but who knows. We also don't know when he realized it wasn't going to work, presumably about 10 seconds after telling the plan to his advisors. This one was going nowhere. By this point, a messenger arrives in the city and lets the emperor know that Severus is definitely on the move and heading towards the city.
Oh dear.
Ripple of panic in the room of advisors.
Yes.
But it's okay. I've got a plan. Plan D. The advisors look at each other. Okay, the last one was bad, but maybe he can redeem himself here. Yes, plan D. Use a secret weapon to defend the city against Severus.
Lasers. Scorpions with lasers on their heads, that kind of thing.
Is that the same advisor talked about zombies?
Yeah, he's now being shown out of the castle.
Yes.
Palace, like, no, go home. It's fine.
You're just not needed here anymore. Now, this is where we see panic actually starting to... Sorry, I've just noticed that you can actually see comments come up at the bottom, and someone's just asked whether this advisor is Jeff. Yes, this advisor is definitely Jeff.
Of course it is, yeah.
Definitely. Panic is starting to set in. Let's fortify the city, thinks Julianus. The problem is that Rome at this time is not very well fortified. The period of Pax Romana has happened, after all. This was a period of peace. I mean, Rome was fighting, but it happened on the borders far, far away. The city
they also built bloody pyramids over the walls as well. I mean, that's
we're not in this period. We're in a period of time where the city has outgrown its old tattered walls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Aurelian walls aren't there. So we need fortifications, we need them quickly, but the city is not built to have them. So Julianus got all his money together and he borrowed some off his friends. I'm guessing he went round the room of advisors with a hat. And then went to the Praetorians. Couldn't you build some defenses, please? Please, pretty please. Here, have some money, please do this. And I'll quote, but in spite of the fact that they received large amounts of money, the Praetorians were in no way grateful to the emperor. They felt that he was not giving them a bonus, but only paying them for what he already owed them. Yeah, he bought the empire, didn't he? So
he did.
So it soon dawned on Julianus that the Praetorian Guard, although notorious, were not in fact soldiers. They were a bunch of guards, lazy guards with a vicious streak. He was very frustrated to learn that a large part of the guard was spending their time in the brothels and paying others to go on their guard duty. So the guards would literally go to a brothel, find someone in the street and just say, here, have this coin and go and stand in front of that building. I'm on duty today.
Nice.
So this was Julianus's force, a group of men who didn't want to work with a sprinkling of men who had just been given a coin to go and stand somewhere and look fierce, even though they weren't guards. But it's fine, said Julianus to his room, because the secret part of the secret plan is about to come in.
Yes.
Now, Julianus
Scorpions
had
with lasers?
obviously been listening to our talk from last year. Oh, yes, because he decided he would use something that would, and I quote, terrify the troops from Illyricum, and stampede the enemy when these huge beasts, which the horses had never seen before, appeared on the field. And that's right.
Elephants!
He's going to use elephants. He's going to use elephants. And elephants are scary. I mean, we did the whole
They
speech
are.
last year on elephants.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with the elephants.
Mm.
However, there was a problem. These were not war elephants.
That's a very important point, isn't it?
It is. If you remember our speech from last year, we went through how elephants are trained from birth to be war elephants. It's very hard to be a war elephant. Not all elephants are cut out to do it, even if they're trained from birth. And these were not war elephants. These were circus elephants.
Great at balancing balls, but terrible at firing arrows.
Juggle. 15 of them could fit in a mini. They're great. But war elephants, they were not. In fact, I'll quote, the elephants found their towers burdensome and would not even carry their drivers any longer, but threw them off.
Burdensome, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I find this tower burdensome. Take it off, please.
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
Multiple sources describe that despite the fear that the city felt as it was turning into a military camp, the general population were also laughing at the poor display of lazy Praetorians and frightened elephants. As they were
juggling elephants, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they're
on a unicycle.
Desperately trying to build walls. And yeah, there are just elephants going past on unicycles, juggling men who are now shouting that they're not even in the Praetorian Guard. They were just told to stand there for a day, and they did not expect to have to go through this.
No.
I'll quote, Didius Julianus accomplished nothing with his Praetorian troops, and the populace hated and laughed at him more and more every day.
Excellent.
It's not going well. At this point, his advisors told Julianus that it would be better to go and hold the passes in the Alps. Like, seriously, sir, the Alps, they're a natural barrier to Italy. They have served us very well in the past. If we go to the Alps, we might be able to stop Severus. At this point, though, Didius Julianus is tapping his board. Can you see the word Alps on this blackboard? Can you? No, you cannot. It is not part of the plan. In fact, Julianus was getting very annoyed with people not getting on board with the blackboard, so he unveiled Plan E. Plan E, kill anyone suspected of siding with Severus.
Yeah, I'll do.
I'm guessing by this point the advisors are starting to gauge how close the door is.
Yeah.
Lots of them sort of doing that thing where you sit on your hands with your hands on the chair, ready to push yourself up quickly.
It's a go, yeah. You start edging your chair near with the doors.
Or just, yes, sir. That's a very, very good plan.
Great idea.
Sighs of relief all around when it turns out that it's Latus and Maria who are on the top of the list. We're not going to go into who these people are. Just know that they're conspirators in the assassination of Commodus. Julianus wanted to send a message. Anyone who conspired against emperors ended up dead. So get on board, everyone, okay? Now, I'm guessing the advisors all nod very, very quickly at this, but one carefully points out that this doesn't actually help with the Severus problem.
Nope.
No. Okay, fine, says Julianus. I have another plan. Plan F. Plan F. Send the Praetorian Guard to fight Severus.
Yeah, send the bodyguards.
Yeah. Okay, fine. He's been told time and time again, you got to send the guard off. It's not going to work unless you send the guard off. You need to go and fight them in the field. We can't just stay here. Okay, but who to send, he thinks. All I have at this point is, and I'm guessing at this point he looks out the window at a man being thrown from one elephant to another as he's screaming. Okay, well, I've got no choice. Send the Praetorian prefect to me. Now, this was a man with the wonderful name Crispinus, or Crispinus, which also is very funny, for different reasons. Anyway, Crispinus, we keep it family friendly. Crispinus is called for. Can you take some boats and sail to Ravenna and just sort this mess out for me, would you? Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
That sounds great. But it was a sorry force of men who were, and I'll quote here, worn out by their constant toil and were becoming greatly alarmed at the report of Severus's near approach. So these were the men who were hastily building the bad walls with the poorly behaved elephants. They realized they were not a match, but they were sent anyway.
Of course not.
Again, we don't know when Julianus found out that his plan had failed, but it probably was when Crispinus himself came back to the city and told him what had happened. He had approached the enemy, said Crispinus, whereupon his force of brave, upstanding men, salt of the earth, won't hear bad word against them. Anyway, sir, they defected en masse, the bunch of sniveling cowards, traitors, the lot of them.
Yeah.
They just all defected straight away. They got up there and they went, no, thank you.
No, thanks.
Over there is a whole field of highly trained soldiers, and
I'm holding a plow.
Yeah, I was just I was walking to buy some bread, and someone gave me a coin and told me to stand in front of the palace, and now here I am.
Holding a baguette.
Yes. An angry elephant following me. So, okay, thinks Julianus, my poor excuse of an army is just defected. It's not good, but it's okay, everyone. Plan G. Plan G. Send the Vestal Virgins to plead with Severus. You got the picture of the room?
Yeah.
Yeah, the advisors are noticeably fewer in number at this point. Some people have managed to sneak out. Those that are still there are looking very worried because this plan is send in the Vestal Virgins. These are sacred holy women who must not be touched by man. We don't have a modern equivalent in the modern world, but think something along the lines of a cross between a young nun and the Pope.
Oh, that's weird.
It is weird, but it's like that kind of respect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't say no to a Vestal Virgin. They're sacred. No. Yes, Pope Joan. Just like Pope Joan. They're sacred, but actually they're not the only ones who are going to go. Julianus wanted to send priests as well. And also Senate members. In fact, pretty much just anyone who has some kind of respect in the city to just go and beg, please don't come and kill the emperor. According to Dio, it was, and I quote, a futile step, surely, to take against soldiers of barbarian blood. Everyone knows that this is desperate. This is getting on your knees begging. Although I'm guessing some senators thought that actually you want to send me off to Severus? That's fine. You know what? I think being around Severus right now is actually a good idea. Maybe we should do that. But when the Senate,
I'm just jumping in to let you know it's the 30-minute.
Oh, cheers, thank you. When the Senate were brought together and Julianus were asked to send the Vestals, one senator stood up, probably in a jerky way because he'd just been kicked, and said, "He who cannot withstand an opponent by force of arms has no right to rule." And many of the Senate started to make sounds of approval. It was a good point well made. I'm guessing then it was Julianus who spun round a board that he'd taken into the Senate building with him, revealing Plan H. Plan H, kill any senator who opposes his plans against Severus.
Yeah.
According to Dio, and I quote, Didius Julianus called for soldiers from the camp in order to either force the senators to obedience or just slaughter them. Now, it should be pointed out that the only source that mentions this is the Historia Augusta, and even the Historia Augusta says that some people don't believe this happened. So this probably didn't happen.
I mean, if the Historia Augusta is saying it, then obviously it didn't happen.
Yeah, but we're saying it did happen.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a bold move, trying to kill the Senate. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
No one explains why it didn't work out, because it's only the story of Augustus saying that it happened, and it doesn't explain why it doesn't work. In fact, I'll just quote them. But this plan found no favor.
No, well,
Yeah.
no.
It's like, bad idea. So Julianus came to the Senate with a better plan.
Ooh.
Plan I. Split the empire with Severus. He knew that his time was numbered. He could not fire, kill, defend against attack, or plead with Severus. So let's see if he wants a job share instead. Job shares are done. You can both have half the week off. The Senate by this point was simply watching a drowning man with interest. Herodian writes, Julianus, dumb and witless, did not know how to handle the situation. It was obvious that Julianus was terror-stricken and in despair. Still, the Senate approved the plan. Why not? This will be funny to watch. The empire will be split between emperors, Julianus and Severus. This was sent off to Severus with an extra note saying that Julianus had even made Severus his choice of Praetorian prefect. So look, I'm putting your people in power. But a letter comes back. Oh no, sorry, I jumped a bit there because no, that's fine. There's another plan, says Julianus, with his eye twitching slightly. He's back in his room with his advisors. Eye twitching. It's Plan J. Secret plan to murder Severus. This was like
brand new, original.
Well, it's like Plan B. Remember when everyone was really impressed with having a Plan B?
They loved it.
Happiest you guys looked, he said to his advisors. Let's try Plan B again. Only this one is Plan J, but it didn't work last time. But it will work this time. Honestly,
Please.
Crispinus was the man to take the letters to Severus, and when he did, he would murder the general. Ha ha. Well, Crispinus goes off and he was seized as he approached the camp and was executed immediately. Severus read the offer to share the empire and declared, I would rather be Julianus's enemy than colleague. Back in Rome, I'm guessing the blackboard room is now just Julianus and one very stressed-looking advisor. All the other chairs just strewn around the room. It's 3 a.m. The two of them are brainstorming. And finally, Julianus cries, I've got it, Plan K. Use magic to stop Severus.
Yes.
At this point, the last advisor just bursts into tears.
No, I can't take this anymore.
Julianus, furthermore, was mad enough to perform a number of rites with the aid of magicians. We get very few stories here. They're probably all made up, but we're saying it happened. I'll quote again. They chanted unholy songs, so we are told, before a mirror, into which boys are said to gaze after bandages have been bound over their eyes and charms muttered over their heads. Apparently, one of the boys muttered about the arrival of Severus and the removal of Julianus, probably winning the internal award for the most obvious prophecy of the year. Dio even claims that Julianus killed the boys. I'll quote, Julianus also killed many boys as a magic rite, believing that he could avert some future misfortunes if he'd learnt of them beforehand. With this knowledge of the future to help him, he cracks on with Plan L. Use the gladiators to fight against Severus, where he's just desperate now, beyond desperate. He's got nothing. Severus's days away. He's got one hope, one last-ditch effort that's going to help him out of the mess. There were fighting men in his control, gladiators from Capua. He immediately wrote an order saying that they be armed. However, this was never going to work. There are not enough gladiators. They're not what our modern perception of gladiators are. This isn't Spartacus, the TV show. This is a bunch of largely untrained slaves and criminals with a few good fighters thrown in. Deep down, Julianus must have known this was not going to go anywhere.
No.
So, with a sigh, he writes up Plan M. Retire. He could just not be emperor anymore, he said. That would fix it.
Yeah.
But Severus was going to kill him if he gave up to Severus. So instead what he'd do...
A short retirement.
Someone else to give up to. Who would work? How about old Claudius Pompeianus? That could work. Claudius had ties to the royal family. He was respected. He was in retirement now, but he could be the new emperor. We could job share and then I could retire. So, he scribbles up a note. The reply came back, and I'm paraphrasing here. Sorry, old chap, I'd love to, obviously, but I'm getting a bit old for emperor-ing, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. Sorry. It was around this time that news came from his last advisor. The Senate have all voted for Severus to be emperor. And the advisor, with a sad look, turns over the very last blackboard. Plan N. Die. The Senate sent a military tribune to kill Julianus. Herodian says that he was found weeping disgracefully. Apparently he was, when As he saw the tribune, he cried, "But what evil have I done? Whom have I killed?" He was killed after ruling for 2 months and 5 days at the age of 56.
It's kind of sad.
It's kind of sad. But you can't argue, there's a lot of backup plans.
Yeah.
So there we go. That was the many backup plans of Didius Julianus.
All right, we've got one question in the Q&A section. We've only got a couple minutes, so
Okay, then.
the first question is, did the Western or Byzantine Roman emperors have the greater share of Jeffs?
Well, Byzantines, they lasted longer, surely.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Eastern Empire had to suffer with more Jeffs than the earlier empire.
That's why they fell.
Yeah, eventually.
They tripped.
No, that's why they survived. That's why it was long and slow and painful. Yeah.
And your Jeff Storian would like to know, do you guys think either of you in Julianus' shoes would be better to perform better?
Ooh, I mean, I wouldn't have bought the Empire to begin with, so I wouldn't have had to have done any of it. But if waking up on that
I'd have
morning
persuaded you.
realizing Severus is on the way, would have I been able to do any better? Probably not. And this is the sad tale of Didius Julianus. It was such a stupid thing to do. But once he'd done it, it's not really anything else he could have done.
No.
But he tried.
He tried.
We all love a trier. Yeah.
So I actually have a non-jokey question. Is there any evidence for why Julianus bought the empire?
No, there is very, very little. We have the story where everyone is talking about what's going on. The Senate know that the empire is being put up for sale. They are outraged by the idea. And we just have this very small couple of sentences that mention that Julianus wanders down to the Senate building and a couple of his colleagues are talking to him about it and suggest he goes for it. And yeah, apart from that, we don't have much on him from his early life.
It's like paying for glory, isn't it? Because he's brought into quite a wealthy family, so it kind of makes sense why he'd be like, yeah, I could do it.
I mean, I know for us, he has become a bit of a jokey emperor who is just fun to talk about. But before he bought the empire, he was well respected, as far as we can tell. He had ties to the royal family. It wouldn't have been seen as a completely stupid choice, but it did not work. And he wasn't hugely well liked. Dio was around at the time. He was writing about him. You get the feeling he didn't like Julianus, thought he was a bit of an idiot. But equally, you get the feeling, I mean, he was consul for a while. He had ties to Marcus Aurelius. He wouldn't have been seen as a complete idiot. So he probably was just taking his chance. And if it worked, if Severus had backed him, he'd just be another emperor who became emperor and then did stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. And our last one, do either of you have a preference in the time periods during Rome, either East or West, having researched so much at this point? Jamie, I know you do a lot of research.
I do loads. I mean, I'm just swamped.
Well, in fact, Jamie, you can answer this one because I would keep talking about it for ages. You listened to me talk about it for several years and we covered everything. Was there a particular time period that you liked?
I think the West was, to me, really interesting because it's quite chaotic, quite ridiculous sources, and I just found that really interesting. The East is interesting, of course. Lots of big things happen, but the West, I enjoy listening to that more. And
the West is easier to remember.
Yes, yeah, that might be why.
But there are just so many interesting periods. I don't think I can pick one. I just would bounce from one place to the other, going, "Oh, but this thing's interesting. Oh, that was yeah." So hard for me to pick.
Fair enough. Well, on that note, thank you very much for coming, even with the various backup plans that had to be put in place in case this didn't work out.
Right, yeah,
seems appropriate to start off with having backup plans.
Yeah. I'm amazed that I was here up until about 15 minutes before we started. I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to be here, so it's great that I made it.
We are living the conference.
And I hope that you make it back to the UK at some point in the next, month.
Well, I'm hoping before I'm due back to work. That would be nice. Yeah, that'd be good.
Right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Head back to the lobby and join your next session.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. Guessing we go
Bye,
backstage.
everyone.
Jeff.